Mic off. Mic on.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to FGM eCast here for the ANZCAR Cup Series, here racing at the Darlington racetrack tonight. We are waiting for Stuart, who's just got a little bit of an issue with his microphone. Hopefully, we'll be back soon. Still there? Okay, let's just run through the championship standings. Sorry about the little bit of technical issue there. So up front, we still have Stephen Williams up in first place with 224 points. Luke Trahair where am I? Yes. Luke Trahair behind him, making a huge leap, 7 places. 74 points behind Stephen Williams, but he's only competed in 5 races so far this season. Christopher Finley in third with 75 points behind in 702. Riley Curtis in joint fourth with Matthew Raymond, both with... sorry, I was looking at the wrong thing for points there. Sorry, my brain switched off. 144 points. Then we have Dwayne Priest in sixth with 140. Kay Donnelly, 138. Hamish Gallagher with 137. Chris Purnell, 135. And Ruben Phelps with 134 points. So it is getting pretty tight up there in the championship, but Stephen Williams, you've got to say, has got a great lead.
Absolutely he does, and I fixed my mic issues. Carl, thanks for taking that over there. Just a carryover from a prior stream, but we've got it corrected tonight. Good evening, everyone, here at Darlington. As you say, it's getting quite tight at the top, and we're just going to be looking to see who can make or potentially make a break for it tonight. I don't know whether or not we'll get anyone breaking away, but certainly Steve Williams, Luke Trahair here in the heat of competition, as we've got just under 4 minutes to go in official practice before we get into qualifying.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting one tonight. We've got a couple of, a slight returning face, but a new face for the Truck Series this year. The champion of the Cup Series, Edward Foster, in the Natari Autosport car, along with his teammate Joshua Carroll in that Natari car as well, with the Bumblebee livery on the front of it, the FGM eCar sponsored cars there. I'm sure you're quite happy to see them on stream, Stuart.
Yeah, absolutely. I, to be brutally honest, didn't even know they were running. So I said to you, just as we jumped into the broadcast, Ed's running tonight, and so is JCW. So good to see them there in the, probably not in that particular one, but good to see them there in the Bumblebee livery that they put together for those two cars. They look fantastic. Steve Williams looking very quick tonight, currently second fastest in practice.
Yeah, look, Stephen Williams, it's his championship to lose at the moment, you've got to say. That race start advantage that he has at the moment is really helping him out. 224 points at the first place, a 74-point lead over Luke Trahair. That is a huge amount of points at this stage of the season.
Yeah, absolutely. And Luke will be working hard here. He is actually our only first multiple race winner in the Truck Series this season. So just shows you the consistency of performance of Stephen Williams to still be up on top of the points at this stage of the season. What are we tonight? Round 8 tonight. So he has done a really good job at just making sure that he finishes races strongly. And again, we speak about it every week, about the importance of keeping a clean truck and managing your race for sort of that last, potentially after the last caution period, but certainly into that last sort of 25 laps or so.
Yeah, it's all about keeping that car clean and keeping it running, of course. As is often the case in motorsport, the better you can keep the car towards the end of the race, the better it's going to be. Of course, the big thing here at Darlington, again, as we often say on these oval races, tyre manage, things like that is very important here. The drivers will be struggling a bit with the right side here. They do tend to run a very high line as well, so you'll see them running up against the wall to get nice and fast, which can make it a little bit tricky for passing sometimes.
Yeah, well, we're going to have to keep an eye out for that one tonight as well. Of course, the track here quite narrow at one end, quite a tight bend at one end of the track, with your more typical open circuit. No, not quite high banking here either, in comparison to some of the other tracks that we visit.
Yeah, that's it. That's slightly less angle on the banking really does sort of hurt the tyres a little bit more. The more banking you've got, the less strain you put on your tyres. Basically, that's why those super speedways have such high banking to them, of course. You did say that slightly less typical layout here at Darlington, a little bit wider happens turn 1 and 2, and then gets tighter on 3 and 4. So you have to be careful to lift off through 3 and 4 there, because it's very easy to get problems as you go across those corners, because it does get a little bit tighter. So you just got to ease off a little bit more than you would expect. And sometimes you'll see drivers just tapping the wall a little bit, especially on the exit of turn number 4, and then having a big spin across the start-finish line, which isn't that wide. Because of those concrete barriers, it can be easy to have a big wreck here.
So probably expecting a few cautions here tonight. Probably not as many, though, as we saw the other night when we did head to Bristol with the Cup Series, Bristol Dirt. So, albeit that ended up being probably less than we expected as well. So, standard driving this year in ANZCAR across the truck and the Cup Series has been extraordinarily high. So, we'll see what tonight brings.
Yeah, that's it. It's been very good series-wise. Even the uncovered series and the ARCA series for ANZCAR, the developmental series, very few cautions in that series for the drivers. We saw 10 cautions at Bristol in the dirt race, which is incredible, really, when you think about it. It was a very hard race, very tricky one to get right, but very rewarding one as well for many of those drivers. Very different. Hopefully, we'll actually see the race itself come tomorrow, as long as the rain stays off.
So we'll cover his first lap as he gets underway here in the Simboys number 23, Troy Davison.
Yeah, we'll keep an eye on this lap, and as you can see, just coming onto the back straight here, we're going to come into that slightly tighter section now, lifts off a little bit more, keeps a slightly lower line, loses the back end, very nearly goes into the wall. That's going to cost him a lot of time there. Davidson's going to get cost a bit of time there with that first lap. Going to hope for a better lap here, but of course, what happens when you have that backhand step out a little bit is it does cost you for that second lap, of course. You lose a little bit of speed overall. Edward Foster jumping up to first at the moment. Troy Davidson not sitting a bad lap there, still sitting second. But yeah, did just lose that rear end a little bit, but managed to catch it before it got too bad. Very close to the wall this time. Much better exit through the corner. This should be a better lap for Davidson. Let's see how he goes. And across the line, and slight improvement there for Davidson. Marco Dornack and Josh Carroll-Walton jumping up there now. Nigel Patton in second.
Yeah, absolutely. Mirko, they're doing a 28.98 as well, matching Troy Davison. Michael Skurlock just popped in with the fastest lap so far. He's done a 28.73. 5/100ths faster than Edward Foster in second, 28.78, equal with Aidan Schultz. Aidan Schultz putting in a great first lap there as well. So let's see how he goes for his second lap. In fact, that was his second lap, my apologies. So that is completed for him. Skurlock up here, purple section as he just touches the wall there on the way through to complete that lap, and I dare say he's going to have improved. No, just that touch of the wall there costing him right on that second lap, but still sitting in provisional pole. Luke Trahair with the 28.89 jumping into fifth, and in fact, Luke Trahair jumping straight up into second place with his second lap around. Just quickly jump on with Ruben Phelps if we can catch him as he completes his second flying lap, moving him up into sixth position. Ruben, one of our more consistent competitors this year, doing and contesting up towards the pointy end of the championship as well, so I'll be looking to consolidate that tonight. We'll jump on board with Igor Berkic, who is out on his second flying lap.
Yeah, Igor's gone up into the wall, unfortunately, on his first lap. So he's got some damage on the right front of the car. That's going to cost him a little bit of speed, and all big amount of oversteer there on the exit of the corner. That's going to cost him a lot of time as he goes through turn number 2 and 3 there. So that's really effectively ruined that lap. Stephen Williams, meanwhile, jumps up into first place. A really good lap from Stephen Williams there. At 28.730, very, very close at the top. We've got a 28.730, 28.732, 28.734. That's the difference between first and third at the moment.
Unbelievable to watch them there basically match identical fastest lap times between William and Skurlock. Is he going to improve that as he completes his second lap around? No, he is not. So really, really tight there. I don't get down into the thousands on my timing screen, but 27.3 it's showing for me for the top 3 drivers, Williams, Skurlock and Trahair. Fantastic effort from those 3 as we just get towards the end of qualifying. Riley Curtis just finishing up here. He has done a 29.54 as his fastest lap. He'll start out at 21st.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant there, and just so close up at the front. Nothing between those front 3 cars. When you get into times like that, it's just nothing other than that slight little release of the wheel, just straightening up the wheel a little bit earlier, just managing to carry a little bit more pace through a corner. It really is very close when you get down to that sort of time. Almost identical times there for the top 3.
That is the closest qualifying session we've seen so far this season. So right down to 5th position. Obviously, generally with this sort of stuff, we see close times, but there's literally only 2 100ths of a second covering the top 5 drivers. So amazing for us to see that there are multiple positions where identical times have been made by the drivers. So another great qualifying session here for the ANZCAR Truck Series.
Yeah, that's it. And up at the front, Stephen Williams, Michael Skurlock pretty much evenly matched in practice as well. In practice time, Stephen Williams' best lap was a 28.701. So Michael Skurlock was a 28.702. So absolutely nothing between those two. Just the tiniest of margins between them in both qualifying and practice there. This is going to be a juicy race between these guys.
Absolutely. So while we can, let's rip through the grid here. We'll cover the front row. It is Stephen Williams on pole position. Michael Skurlock, second place. Another front row for Skurlock. I think that's 5, maybe even 6 weeks in a row for him. Luke Trahair, Ed Foster off row 2. We've got Aidan Schultz and Lachlan Aquisia off row 3 with Ruben Phelps and JCW, Joshua Carroll-Walton off row 4, followed by Mirko Titanic and Nigel Patton off row 5. Then we go to Troy Davison and Norman Clark off row 6 as we move further back into the grid here. Paul Jackson and Tony Gagliardi off row 7 with Ryan Jones and Dwayne Priest off row 8. Ryan Bull, Christopher Finlay next off row 9, followed by Cade Donnelly and Brodie Masters off row 10. Watch out for Cade to make his way through. Riley Curtis, another one to keep your eye on, and Todd Maxfield off row 11, followed by Mick Taylor and Jamie Nankervis off row 12 as we get back through the field before things start. And it is Gary Wellman, followed by Igor Burkic. We've got Matt Patton and Matty Raymond, Nicholas Walsh and Aaron Dillon, Nathan Rawlick. We've got Greg Spencer, and at the rear of the field is Kai Turner in position 33. That is the grid for this evening's race. Thanks to AJ Insurance Services on FGM eCast, even as we get things underway here. Just let go of the push to talk button there right at the end. And we're going to get away here with Steve Williams and Michael Skurlock at the front of this field.
FGM eCast, the new home of ANZCAR, showing both the trucks and the Cup, of course. We'll be back with the Cup on the 8th of April at Martinsville, but tonight we are here at Darlington Raceway for round 8 of the Trucks series. It's going to be a interesting one tonight. Stephen Williams right up at the front, and we've seen great battles between Williams and Skurlock all year long, but Luke Trahair has been the standout driver this season. 3 wins so far. With only 5 starts this season, he's only had 2 bad finishes, and that was at the Daytona race, and I'm trying to think of the other one, the Daytona race there. I have to apologise to Luke Trahair, of course, but very close up there. Luke Trahair really doing a great job this year and putting a lot of pressure on some of those drivers, but Stephen Williams is really out there looking good tonight and looking good for the championship as well.
Just a really bit of late mail there. Michael Skurlock just jumping out and jumping into pit lane as we went to take off on our pace lap here, and he will start this race from pit lane.
Interesting choice there for Scully. Not sure what the decision behind that one is. Obviously, you do get some advantage sometimes starting a bit further back because you can avoid those early incidents. So if there is something bad happens, Scarlett might be in choice positioning. But of course, when you're a bit further back, it is easier to get caught up in a wreck as well. The big pace truck pulls into the pit lane, and we'll be going green here for the Darlington Raceway here on the FGM E-Cast.
Absolutely, let's get this one going. Steve Williams here waiting to lead this one away. He's got a very experienced campaign next to him in Edward Foster as we go green, and Ed Foster gets a great start here going right with Stephen Williams at the outset. Luke Trahair in third. We've got Lachlan Aquisio and Aidan Schultz battling back there in fourth and fifth. Joshua and Cara Walden and Ruben Phelps. We've got Mirko Detanik, Nigel Patton and Norm Clark rounding out our top 10 as things start to settle as we get halfway through lap one.
Yeah, everybody's starting to settle down a little bit with that one. We saw a car just dropping back a little bit in the field, but nothing major at the start there. You see Stephen Williams just managed to get that line. He's going to sit comfortably in that position and try his best to hold on to that sort of lead at the moment. But Foster's going to sit back there just comfortably behind Stephen Williams for the moment, not press too hard. You've got Luke Trahair there in third and Aidan Schultz there up in fourth. Good qualifying from Aidan Schultz there and good start for him as well. Hopefully some luck will come his way this race.
Yeah, absolutely. Probably the unluckiest guy on the track over the last couple of weeks, getting caught up in other people's incidents on a number of occasions. So he'll be looking to get through this one with just a nice, clean, consistent race. You see Edward Foster move down to the low line here, and he's going to get the pass done on Stephen Williams and move up into first position. Luke Trahair taking advantage as well, along with, looks like Aidan Schultz may get the job done. No, he's just slid in there, moved up into that high line behind Stephen Williams. Something there a little wrong with Williams, just suddenly slowed up. Maybe touch the wall on the exit of the turn.
Well, looks like Foster actually put Williams just slightly on the wrong part of the line going into the corner there. And Williams just had to check up a little bit more. He almost touched the wall. He didn't actually make contact, but it was very close. Foster just surprising Stephen Williams there, causing him to get offline slightly. And that really gave Luke Trahair the opportunity to pounce. And Foster is now charging away with this at the moment. He's making a good break out there with almost a quarter of a second, just over a quarter of a second lead. So he's up there. And Stephen Williams actually into the wall. Stephen Williams up into the wall. Big disaster for Williams there.
So we're just on board here with Aidan Schultz as he got the job done. I think Aidan didn't help him, but certainly meant that Steve was a little bit pressed for room there as Schultz made a completely clean pass and got the job done on him, and that unfortunately did result in that touch in the wall.
Yeah, that's I'm just going back to look at it, and yeah, Aidan Schultz was just underneath him, and yeah, Stephen Williams just got unlucky there. He just went up a bit too high, just got off the racing line completely, went up into the wall. Quite a lot of damage on the front of that car already, and that's not going to help his campaign. This is exactly the kind of thing that Stephen Williams does not want to have happening as his title rival at the moment. Luke Trahair is up there in second place. He's going to be pretty happy seeing Williams drop back a little bit now.
As we're on the front of JCW's car here, as he gets a good run on Aidan Schultz, currently making his way up into third position on track. So some good early moves here from our front runners, but it's been nice and clean so far here in round 8 at Darlington.
Yeah, some good racing out there. A lot of these drivers are struggling a bit with grip at the moment as well. So I did hear from a lot of drivers out there that the grip wasn't quite working for them, and it was a bit slick out on the high line, sort of the real high line, you should say. It got a bit slick up there, and so a few drivers are struggling a little bit with the car there. So expect to see that get worse as the race goes on, although you'll start to get a bit of a racing line form around that sort of slightly mid to high line there. It's still going to be quite slick on the parts where the trucks aren't going, and of course you do get marbles starting to form right at the edge of the circuit and then down at the bottom of this track. And as you said, it's quite a it's quite a sort of shallow banking as well, so those marbles will tend to form up right at the bottom of the line, and that can be perilous when you go for an overtake.
It's just sorting to get a little more congested here at the front as the lead pack closes up. Luke Trahair's made a little bit of ground on Ed Foster at the front of this pack. Aidan Schultz driving really well so far tonight. Just holding off Joshua Cara Walden, who has looked to try and get underneath him a couple of times, just not quite able to get it done. And what that battle has meant is that Lachlan Aquisio has pushed up onto the back of this leading five.
Yeah, you've got former teammates there of Lachlan Aquisio and Joshua Carroll-Walden there. So former teammates, so they know each other quite well. They're going to know each other's tricks and the tricks of the trade, things like that. So expect to see them racing hard as Joshua Carroll-Walden makes a look down the side of Aidan Schultz. Can't quite make it done yet as Aidan Schultz goes a bit wide. He's going to lose some speed. That's going to give JCW the opportunity to get down underneath Aidan Schultz there. Good save from Schultz, but he might be under pressure from Lachlan now. Quijo is right on the back of Schultzy. This could be Quijo's turn to get past. Doesn't quite make it stick this time round. Good save from Schultz there. Managed to get the car back online and get the pace back working for it. Meanwhile, front of the field, Foster has got a good lead, steady lead at the moment. Not really putting much ground over Luke Trahair, but Trahair is keeping him honest and keeping a bit of a gap from JCW as well. So good job at the front. They're just managing their pace at the moment, not pushing too hard. But you can see JCW actually is now putting pressure on Luke Trahair. Just touches the wall. You can see JCW now on the inside as they go through turns 3 and 4. Side by side there. JCW gets a little bit loose. You're going to see Trahair just jump back up in front of him and hold that position.
Yeah, really fantastic driving from these drivers here. As you mentioned, with the save there for Aidan Schultz, just a light tap of the wall. He's managing to keep that nice and straight and keep going. Testament to his skill in these things. He's come a long way in a very short period of time as he makes good ground there on JCW as well. So it won't be too long before he's knocking away on the back of that truck.
Meanwhile, a little bit further down the pack, we've got a battle for 12th and 13th between the pole sitter and second place man that started from the pit lane, Stephen Williams and Michael Skurlock. Both have a little bit of damage on the front of their truck. Skurlock a little bit of damage on the right front at the moment. Stephen Williams with some damage on the bonnet. You can see Skurlock's going to get a good run here as they go 3 wide almost there past Troy Davidson and I believe that was Nigel Patton. So great run there from Stephen Williams and Michael Skurlock. Those two are starting to press back with some serious speed as this race starts to go on.
Troy Davison there, very lucky, got right up into the wall, which is the damage that he's now got on.
Up into the wall again. Nigel Patton just doing a great job avoiding that, but Troy Davidson, I think, is going to pull it into pit lane this time.
Yeah, it just unfortunately got up into the wall that first time around. Skurlock and Williams got the run there. That's an amazing job so far from Michael Skurlock. He started dead at last in pit lane and already up to 11th place. So definitely a tactic there, I guess, to try and help him out at the start, but hasn't impeded him too much on his progress. So Steve Williams
got a caution out. Gary Wellman involved in that one. Just trying to see what happened with that one.
Down there on the inside. Let's run that back for a replay. Whoa! Oh. What?
That was a big one.
We've got to wind that back.
Let's try and make sense of that one there. Looked like possibly blinking issues for one of the cars ahead. Igor Burkitt was involved in that one as well. It looks like Gary Wellman may have just blinked there and actually gone into Igor, and that caused Gary Wellman to go absolutely flying up there. Nathan Rowlock, the real unfortunate person there, he just had nowhere to go. Got the car on completely off the ground there. He managed to do a bit of a wheelie down the front straight there. Great wheelie, but not good for the car for sure. With that, it's like Michael Schumacher inspired helmet livery in the car, but yeah, big incident there down the back.
And unfortunately, Aidan Schultz' bad luck continues as those cars made their way back down and around Schultz, just unable to avoid an impact on the right-hand front. I think it may well have been of Igor Burkick's car. Actually, no, my apologies, it was Nathan Rowlock.
Yeah, that was very unlucky there. Aidan Schultz, he basically couldn't see where he was going there. Up in front of him, he had Luke Trahair. Basically just in front of him, and the smoke was so thick, couldn't see what was happening, and then he just catches the front of the 49. It was Igor Burkick that caught the Aidan Schultz got caught into there, unfortunately, but nothing, no one at fault there, unfortunately. Igor couldn't have done anything. He did the right thing holding his brakes. Unfortunately, Aidan couldn't see what was happening there and got caught in that incident.
So very, very unfortunate as we see a raft of drivers, as you would expect, get through pit lane. In fact, pretty much the entire field at this stage. Mirko Titanic has decided not to jump into pit lane yet, and he is currently in first place.
Yeah, so Mirko there just staying out, just getting a lap led there. That's going to give him a bonus point. So not a bad call. He's going to come in now, get the pit stop done. You can sometimes lose a little bit of time doing it this way, but you get a clear pit lane, so you don't have to worry about all the kerfuffle in the actual pit lane itself. And you're on those slightly fresher tyres as well, so he doesn't have to worry about cars jostling around for position. Meanwhile, up the front, Edward Foster had a good pit stop there, keeping ahead of Luke Trahair, Joshua Carroll behind him, Lachlan Quio in fourth, with Ryan Jones making his way up the field. Ryan Jones making up 9 positions so far this race, up into 6th spot.
A fantastic drive there. I was just having a look through the field, and yeah, a great run from Ryan. Shouldn't be too surprised, actually. He's put in a couple of strong performances so far in his time in the series. So looking forward to seeing how he goes for the remainder of this race as well. But for mine, obviously experience considered, but Michael Skurlock, amazing. So far, last of field. It'll indicate on your timing monitors he's actually down 5 positions because he did qualify in 2nd place. However, has started from pit lane and has currently run from the back of the field up to 7th place.
Now, we're just going to grab up quickly from the infield care centre the Mark 1 eSport driver, Aidan Schultz, and have a quick chat to him about that incident. Aidan Schultz, unfortunate there. We saw the incident happen and looked like you had absolutely nowhere to go there.
Yeah, Carl, very, very unfortunate, that one. I was running well in that one. I was really comfortable, and we all sort of went low. We saw the car with the new smoke model. It's a little bit hard, and yeah, I was following the front 3 just in behind it, ready to go under caution, and just clipped him, and that's my night done, unfortunately. So a really disappointing end to a really good start for the Mark 1 number 52 truck tonight.
A real shame there. We saw you having a good run. You really need to move away from that ladder factory next to that black accent tree, because it's not working out for you, Aidan.
It's not, but I can say, well, tonight I can use the black cat as an excuse, because that definitely was a bit of unluckiness, but the other ones in the last couple of weeks, if you don't put yourself in those positions, you're not there to have that wreck. But I'm really disappointed about that one tonight. I thought we were quick, and we had something for the boys at the front. So disappointed to be out so early.
All right, thank you so much, Aidan. We'll catch you later. We're going back to green here at Darlington Raceway.
Absolutely there, Aidan Schultz, the unluckiest man so far in truck racing. We're sure that will change soon with the level of driving he puts into it. But as we get away from Aidan Schultz, Ed Foster gets away on the restart here. He's got Luke Trahair right behind him. We'll run through the top 10, followed by Joshua Carroll-Walden, Ryan Jones, Lachlan Aquisio. We've got Michael Skurlock, Ruben Phelps. Great move from Ruben. Norm Clark. We've got Ryan Bull and Cade Donnelly. We told you to watch out for him, currently up into 10th position.
Yeah, good run there from Cade. Ruben Phelps as well, having another good run. As we got another caution out. Got another caution out. Oh, I think Aaron Dillon involved in that one, I think. And so 2 incidents in that one, actually. Mirko Dornak a little bit further behind, up into the wall. And he's gone down and had a big incident. Aaron Dillon got caught just behind him. Looks like somebody just caught Aaron at the back there, just trying to figure out who that was. And that just caused that big incident there.
Jamie Nankervis, I believe, involved in that incident. Couldn't see if he was the cause, but certainly involved in that incident with Aaron Dillon.
Yeah, I think Jamie was just slightly ahead there, and Jamie got caught up. Jamie Nankervis there just got caught by Aaron Dillon as he went up there. It was Dwayne Priest there. Just looks like he's been travelling along. Aaron Dillon's come up a little bit early and just got caught up with both of those. So big incident back there. And as well, unfortunately, Mirko Dornak as well had a crash on his own, and that caused him to have that's caused him to be out of the race as well. A few casualties early on. We did say it was going to be tricky out there tonight with this slick track.
Yeah, grip certainly the factor, even this early on in the race, or you'd say as late on in the race, you'd expect the track to have gripped up a little bit by now, but not to be.
Yeah, that's it. And with these cautions, of course, it's going to make it a little bit trickier. The track is going to be cooling down a bit too as it switches to night here. You'll lose, the track temperature will start going down a little bit, and that will help tyre wear for these drivers. But it is still very tricky. It's a tricky track as well, Darlington. It can catch a few people out because you do have to run that high line. You are always so perilously close to the wall. And one of the big things, of course, that has changed on a lot of these tracks is the introduction of the safer barriers that were put into all of these oval tracks in the early 2000s. And they tend to have a little jut from them. So they tend to have a little bit of a jut out of the wall at the beginning of the actual corner, and then they edge back into the corner itself on the exit. And sometimes that can cause you trouble because although these tracks are very much used to it now, you can still get caught out by it because the tracks sort of weren't designed for it initially.
Yeah, so plenty of changes coming through here that are impacting on the racing for the guys, but it does make it more realistic, and that's what we love, of course, as the lights go out on the pace truck. Just waiting for it to come into focus there. I believe it has. So we will go green flag racing again. No, I've just got in there just before it's going to go out. So we are one more lap under the caution before the pace truck pulls in and we head off racing again. Mentioned early on in the stream, thanks to AJ Insurance Services for their support of our broadcast. If you're looking for insurance advice, give the guys at AJ Insurance Services a call. Joe Daly, a very big participant in the iRacing community, so do support one of our fellow competitors and give him a call or get in contact with him. He's probably pretty busy with flood stuff at the moment in New South Wales, but always makes time to have a chat. So if you're looking for that type of help, give them a call.
Yeah, absolutely. And just mentioning the floods that are going on at the moment, we wish everybody affected by that all the best, of course. Very, very disastrous situations. It's been a strange 12 months. We had fires last year, floods this year, but neither of those occasions are easy to deal with, and we wish everybody all the best who have been caught up in that. So Foster up in the lead now. Trahair on the outside once again. Ryan Jones up into fourth now. He is working his way up the field, almost like the Terminator, just directly coming up the field. Nothing seems to be stopping him at the moment.
Yeah, he was very, very competitive last week and hassling at the front of the pack. So looking to improve the result, as last week he did finish second to Luke Trahair. So he'll be looking to go one better this week if he can.
Yeah, that's it. And, of course, trying to get a little bit more of his championship standings up there. Of course, not full-time runner. Only run 4 races this season. But that's not to say you can't do a lot on small amounts of running. Pace truck has come in. We'll be going back to green flag racing very, very shortly. Edward Foster's going to lead us away. The green flag's going to come out. Foster drops the hammer quite quickly. He gets a good jump there over Luke Trahair. Joshua Carroll-Walden, probably the one that's been caught out the most, as Ryan Jones is going to try and squeeze down. Doesn't quite have the room at the moment. Gets caught a little bit high on those slightly cooler tyres. That's going to give JCW the opportunity to get underneath him and maybe get up there. Michael Skurlock as well, just behind this battle, really doing a great job of recovery from starting in pit lane, coming right back to the front of this field at some vast rates of knot. That car has got some speed underneath it.
And Ryan Jones there getting very lucky, got pretty loose when he was held up into the wall by Joshua Carroll-Walden, just managing to hold onto it there with the cooler tyres and the low grip, doing a great job to keep that 111 entry off the wall.
Yeah, brilliant job. At the moment in the 43, Luke Trahair is getting a good run. We got a lot of smoke in the background. I think it was just somebody getting loose. Yep, somebody just getting loose, that's okay. Luke Trahair getting a good run at the moment. He's going to try and get behind Foster, use a little bit of that draft to get a run on him, and then you'll probably see him jump down into I'd say turns 1 and 2 to be safe, but he's got to try and get that run on Foster at the moment. JCW, Joshua Carroll-Walden, is putting the pressure on him, so he's going to have to drive defensively, and that's going to give Foster the chance to start running away with this one.
Well, we can just see
big wreck behind them. Tony Gagliardi involved in that one. A huge wreck down the back straight there. 16 has gone down into him. The 16, Todd Maxfield, up into the wall there. And a big crash down in the mid-pack there.
And we have gone yellow flag. We'll just pull that one back up on the screen here. Let's have a look at what happened there.
So yeah, as you can see there, Todd Maxwell just going up into the wall, went down into Gagliardi there. The one that got very lucky was Matthew Raymond there. He will have, if he was sitting on a lump of coal, it would probably turned into a diamond.
Just going to bring up here the replay. We'll go on board with Matthew Raymond and just have a look at what he gets to see. The driver's saying that the smoke that comes through now is very hard to see what goes on. Actually, probably a little bit too close up there. We might even need to jump back a little bit further back in the pack. There it is. There on board with Troy Davison. You just see how thick that smoke is and how hard it is for people to see coming through those incidents. So very difficult for the drivers to make sure that, or as best they can, make sure they get out of the way of some of these incidents.
Yeah, it's really been a game changer on the oval tracks. I don't do much racing on the street/road circuits myself, but it is a big thing on the oval tracks, of course, because you're traveling at such speed. When a car goes round, you get a lot more smoke off the wheels more often in that respect. So it becomes very hard to see, especially if there's more than one car involved. We've seen a couple of times on some of the much faster speedways, big crashes since smoke has come out, and a few of the official races I've been competing in have been decided by the smoke of a car spinning in front of them. Just not being able to see where you're going. You almost just have to close your eyes and hope for the best. It's a bit like the trucks running at Eldora the weekend, where that really thick mud was coming up on the windscreen. They couldn't see a thing after lap one. You have that same situation. You just got to rely on the spotter telling you where things are and just hope for the best.
Yeah, absolutely. We put some footage of that up on our Facebook page, and it was you couldn't see a damn thing. You'd be leaning with your head out the window trying to see what's going on. But the smoke model here doesn't necessarily affect the circuit racing as much, because we don't seem to have these high-speed slides that you do get during the trucks with the lockup, so we don't tend to see it as much, but I'm sure I will at some stage. But I was just jumping back here to Steve Williams. So he's currently sitting in 12th, now pole sitter, so did touch the wall a little early on. He's just been jogging on the spot a little bit. One thing about Steve Williams is he does manage his race very well, so albeit he'll be disappointed not to be up at the front at this point in time. We're only 30 laps into a 100-lap race here, and he's currently in 12th position with very minor damage to that car. So albeit not where he wants to be, probably well positioned for a run towards the end of this race.
Well, with that damage, if he can finish in the top 20, he's going to be happy with that. If he can finish in the top 10, I think he'll be ecstatic. Obviously, would prefer to win, but it's going to help preserve his championship lead. As I said, he's got such a big lead at the moment of 74 points. If he can just keep finishing solid results as the season goes on, just finishing in the top 10, that's all he needs to do. As we've only got 4 races left after this one, of course. Next time up, we are on a road circuit, the Circuit of the Americas. 45 laps of that on the 5th of April, of course. So a little bit of a different track there. We'll see some very different drivers getting up to the front with that one, I'm sure. But with that lead at the moment, it's really... he's got to have some disastrous results for Luke Trahair to catch him, really. So Steve Williams just got to play the game, just not pushing too hard, just keeping in the top 20, keeping in the top 10 positions, and just finishing the races, and he should be able to keep that championship lead relatively intact to the end.
An interesting point you make, actually, because he will be up the front. Steve Williams very strong on circuit, and you'd expect Luke Trahair will be as well. So we'll see how they get on next week. It's going to be really interesting, but of course we've got plenty of time to go here to resolve this one. 59 laps remaining in this one, and no, I'll get it right in a minute. It is 60 60 yeah. Remaining in this one. It's only Monday night, my goodness me. Remaining in this one, and there's still plenty to come here. So as we get ready to go racing again, it's going to be Ed Foster, Luke Trahair on our front row. We've got Josh Carroll-Walden and Ryan Jones behind him, Michael Skurlock, Aquijo, Phelps, Clark, Bull and Donnelly rounding out your top 10 as we go. Green flag running. And again, Ed Foster with a strong start. Trahair's gone with him. Carroll-Walden's gone with him as well as Ryan Jones. So up and aware to the tactics. This is what happens when we get a few yellows in a row. The drivers get used to the start or the restart attempts of the lead driver and generally tend to close that gap and go with them. That's what's happened here. Michael Skurlock right up behind Ryan Jones as well. Ruben Phelps not too far off. So we've got quite a congested lead pack here as Lachlan Aquisia goes past Ruben Phelps for 5th position. Sorry, my apologies, 6th position there. And it's very congested at the front here.
Yeah, great start between Lockie and Phelps there. Those two were side by side for a good lap. As they were coming across the line, they really put some pressure on each other, doing a great job of keeping those cars alive because it's not easy to keep side by side here. It is a little bit of a single line track sometimes. You can get that second line working for you, but it's not easy. It does take a lot of talent to run side by side here, and that's what we saw with those two drivers. But Foster has not got quite the lead he's had before. You've got Trahair now. He's more focused on the car in front of him, it seems, than the car behind him. He's going to try and put some pressure on Foster, try his best to get a move done, but it's very hard to do. Trahair's gone into the wall, and that's going to give Ryan Jones the opportunity as he gets past Joshua Carroll-Walden. JCW tried to make the move, but Jones saw it beforehand. He used Trahair's little bump into the wall to jump around both cars. 2 cars in one corner. Great job for Ryan Jones.
Absolutely, we're just on board there, able to see that little bump that Trahair did with the wall, and Jones capitalising the quickest ahead of Joshua Carroll-Walden, who is down into 4th position as a consequence of that changeover. Just got a little bit loose. Trahair up into the wall there. It's given Foster some breathing room. There's a little bit further back in the background there. I think it was Riley Curtis we could see making a move on Norm Clark going down into the turn. Yes, he is indeed. So the move's going on all the way down the pack here, but it is Ryan Jones now up into 2nd, trying to chase down a very fast Ed Foster at the front.
Yeah, got to give some serious credit there to Joshua Carroll-Walden because he was looking to make a move on Luke Trahair there. He was going to pounce out, but Ryan Jones just managed to make the jump quicker, got beside JCW, boxed him into Luke Trahair, and that was the key to that move. It could have been so easy for JCW to move out from behind Luke Trahair in the 43 and have a massive crash at the front, but those drivers, brilliant situational awareness, not making the move there, and saved all of their race cars, you got to say. But Ryan Jones taking the advantage in the 111 car and getting up there, and now he's going to start chasing down Foster and putting pressure on him.
Just saw again there, JCW just getting a little loose, just managing to avoid the wall, so grip's still a big issue even for the top drivers here. So they're struggling to just make these things stick. But JCW now making a move down underneath Luke Trahair. That'll put pressure on him. It's just as well to manage it there.
What it might do is let Skurlock have an opportunity at attacking JCW now. You can see he lost a bit of speed there when he made that move. Couldn't quite make it stick. And then Michael Skurlock right behind him, putting on the pressure. Just a little bit further back, you got Norman Clark getting passed by Riley Curtis. Riley Curtis doing a great job there. But Joshua Carroll-Walden, just lost that little bit of speed as he tried to make that move. Couldn't make it stick at the moment. And I think that's going to be the issue for these guys up at the front. They're not going to be able to make moves stick easily because they're struggling to run that low line. Trahair into the wall big time that time. He's going to lose a lot of speed. This is going to give Skurlock the opportunity to do a Ryan Jones-esque move running between the two cars. JCW and Trahair comes up there. Lachlan Urquio into the wall now. He's gone up into the wall, lost a lot of speed, and that's given Ruben Phelps the opportunity to get up there as well.
Phelps getting lucky there as well. That could have ended a disaster for him, but just managing to make his way around as well. So few drivers here just struggling a little bit with the grip factor and changes for positions as Joshua Carroll-Walden now gets down on the inside of Luke Trahair, and he just gets that job done and closes that out. So Luke Trahair down into 5th as a consequence of that little bit of a lapse.
Yeah, you got to say JCW is probably absolutely pleased to be past Trahair at the moment, just because of those little taps on the wall. He was other than Trahair himself, he was the driver that got affected most, allowing Skurlock and Jones to get past him because he had to take that avoiding action and lost the speed because of it. So now he's going to get back on it, try get back up to Skurlock, but there is a good gap between them. There's almost a second gap between Skurlock and Joshua Carroll-Walden, so they have pulled out a good lead over those cars. Edward Foster, meanwhile, at the front has a half-second lead over Ryan Jones. So Foster doing a great job up front, just preserving that lead and just keeping that car where he wants to. He's keeping it nice and clean, not putting too much pressure on it. Same as Jones, just running that car to a good pace at the moment. There's still a long way to go in this race, 58 laps remaining. So a lot to go on still, and many things can happen.
Yeah, so all of these drivers did pit last on lap 16. So in terms of tyre life, all on the same strategy. Matty Raymond, the latest driver to pit on lap 28. And he has the freshest tyres, not really helping him so much at this point in time. But as things wear on, he will start to make his way up the field if we continue this green flag running.
The big thing for Matty Raymond is it's going to give him the opportunity to run a slightly different strategy to these guys. Of course, you might see this group of drivers up the front needing to make a green flag pit stop, and that is going to hurt you at Darlington. You're going to lose a lap if you pit under green here. So if Matty Raymond can stick out there for a nice long length and get lucky with a caution, he could be in a winning position for it. It depends, of course, on how these drivers can keep those tyres alive and also keep fuel going. From practice, I think it was around about 90 laps of fuel, if I remember correctly. So they should be all roughly okay on fuel. But of course, that was me in practice, just piddling around, not going at full race pace. So sometimes we do get caught out by that one. But we're probably going to see, as Ryan Jones up into the wall there, into turn number 2. Ryan Jones just catching the wall there. A little bit of a hit there for him, and that's going to affect him a little bit further in this race. But as I was saying, the big thing is going to be pit stops. If they need to pit under green, it's going to look good for Matty Raymond if they get a late caution when all these guys are pitted in.
I feel like maybe Trahair might have burnt his tyres a little quicker than everyone else. He's still struggling for grip out there. Just getting passed by Riley Curtis now, down into 7th position.
Well, as great as Luke Trahair's driving has been this season, and you cannot say he has not been good, and he has had some great tyre-saving skills, you have to remember Luke Trahair is still very new to oval racing. So it can be one of those things where you can get caught out on tracks like Darlington because they are a little bit different to some of the more conventional ovals, and they can sometimes catch you out. Of course, he's got the Virtual Motorsport Mentorship Program underneath him, Crank Esport, a great team himself, Michael Skellock, and of course
Chris Purnell,
there we go, thank you very much. Chris Purnell, of course, leading that team, very experienced drivers there, but he is one of the newer drivers to the series, so, experience does sometimes pay off. He's in a great battle now with Riley Curtis. He was trying to get side by side with Riley Curtis. He seems to get some speed back now, but Norman Clark is catching, as well as Lachlan Urquio there, so looking like it's going to be a good fight for 6th, 7th, 8th and 9th. Ruben Phelps, meanwhile, has managed to make a bit of a lead on those guys and is trying to catch up to JCW ahead of him.
We've just seen a change for 2nd place here with Michael Skerlock moving up over Ryan Jones and getting a run on there. So, again, perhaps a little bit of tyre conservation. I didn't see if Jones touched the wall. It did. There was a huge differential in speed, so maybe something there affecting the outcome as Joshua Carroll-Walden now sets his eyes down on Ryan Jones as well.
Just as you were talking there, Stuart, Ryan Jones went up into the wall again. Quite a bit of damage to that right front now of that car. You can see the front fender has been completely bent in. That front right tyre is now almost completely visible on that car. So,
just struggling a little bit there for grip, one would say, but he's done a marvellous job so far of getting up into 3rd place. So these guys now might be really hoping that there is a caution period so they can get into pits and get some fresh rubber on these trucks. So as we get back here, just a little bit of an issue there with some of the commentary, so we get back into it here. Start. So I think we've got Carl back with us now, hopefully. Not sure what happened there, just a few technical gremlins this evening. But we're back and running again. So Ryan Jones here under pressure. It is Joshua Carroll-Walden down on the inside of him there. It looks like he might get the job done, and he does indeed. So he moves himself up into third position. And Ryan Jones now looking like he's going to be under attack from Ruben Phelps. Just seeing if he can get the job done there. Just had a little bit of a drama here with the broadcast for Carl, so we'll try and get him back into it here. In the meantime, we'll hold the ship steady. So Edward Foster continues with a 1.25 second gap at the front here, 54 laps in, 46 to go for the math done there for you. But Michael Skurlock sitting in second place, a great drive from him. Back up into his qualifying position. He did have to start this one from pit lane. We're not too sure why he had to start it from pit lane, but he did, and he's now back into the groove, up into second place. I think we might have Carl back with us now. It looks like we still don't quite have Carl back now, but we will. Oh, no, there we are. You're back. Beautiful. So I just had a couple of issues there with the Discord. No, that's fine. I think it might have been at both ends, actually. Just Discord having a little fit there. But what I'm going to do now is jump on to Ryan Jones, who has dropped right back here. As Todd Maxfield looks like he's jumped into pit lane. He's had an issue. Hasn't caused a caution period for us, much to the dismay of the drivers. But Ryan Jones now falling back through the pack. He's currently in 8th. He may want to consider jumping into pit lane to get a new set of rubber on that. It's starting to affect his race, as he's now down with Stephen Williams and Norm Clark in 8th position.
Yeah, just noticing as well, Brodie Masters has come into pit lane. Quite a bit of damage on that car though, but he has come into pit lane now for some for a pit stop. So we might see some drivers considering that pit stop relatively soon, as we've got 43 laps remaining of this race. We are on lap 57, of course. Still showing some strong pace out front. Not obviously about 2 seconds off the pace with fresh tyres. But last time round it was a 30.4 for Foster, 30.5 for Skurlock. So they've still got some good pace out there. But we are seeing some cars coming in. Lachlan Urquio is coming in this time round, and there's a caution out. Caution is out.
Tony Gagliardi there struggles with some issue, and that has ultimately meant that he's ended up in the wall. We'll jump back and have a replay of that one.
See what happened there to Gagliardi. Hopefully get that all working.
It's been a big impact. Single car incident down in the into the wall at the bottom of the track. So I'm not too sure how he's just lost it there and ended up down into the pit wall at the bottom of the track. So it looks like his night may be over. But that has called a caution, much to the relief of a majority of our drivers. Now we'll jump into pit lane.
Yeah, and he sort of did that almost in front of the leaders. Good job holding the brake there from Gagliardi. So very good job for him to hold that brake. And that's one of those important things for oval racing, is holding brakes. You see it sometimes where people let go. They think they're going to roll down and just get out of everybody's way. Unfortunately, that's not how it works. You end up trying to avoid the people and having a huge crash. The person this might work out for is Lachlan Urquio, I think, just because he was making his pit stop when that caution came out. So we might see Lachlan Urquio just jump up a few positions here, maybe. Just see how that goes, because he'd just come into pit lane before that caution came out, I think.
And just an apology there to Brian, just complaining about the quality of the graphics in the stream tonight. Brian, I think it might unfortunately be at your end, because I'm just having a look at the stream live here, and it's certainly out in a full 1080 stream. So apologies there if there's something that's causing it not to work, but I've just double checked on it, and it is coming across live and clear. So hopefully that's the same for everyone else out there tonight.
Yeah, quick off and on again situation maybe there. There's been a couple of issues tonight. Unfortunately, I'm having a couple of issues with Discord myself, so I apologise about the silence there and the disconnections, but hopefully that will be the end of technical difficulties tonight. But it's going to be interesting now to see what happens with these cars out there. Of course, this has basically given those guys at the front a reprieve. This hasn't worked out well for people like Matthew Raymond, although he has made up some good positions. He's made his way up into 9th place. That's 19 positions gained in this race so far. So those slightly fresher tyres did end up working for him a bit in that last stint. So things have paid off for a little bit for him there. So that is always good to see.
I guess the good news from his perspective is that he's been able to make progress through the field. His truck's still in basically showroom condition, and he's been able to pit with the rest of the field and maintain that. So he's very, very well placed. Luke Trahair just in front of him there with a fair bit of damage to the back of that truck, and obviously dropping down the field a little bit because of that tyre degradation that he was struggling with. So not all bad news for Matty Raymond. Certainly up 19 positions, as you said, and positioned very well.
Yeah, another driver that's had a good run this race is Riley Curtis, of course, Mach 1 Esport. He seems to be the driver that's having a bit better luck than some of his teammates at the moment. But he's up there in P5. He's gained 16 positions tonight. So good job from Riley Curtis. Nice to see him up there fighting up the top. Always nice to see Riley up there, a veteran of the series.
Yeah, absolutely. So I was just trying to look back to when that last caution period was. I think we had basically a 42 lap run, green flag run there. So tyres on those trucks very, very old. So 16 laps difference in terms of pit stops. I know Troy Davison at this stage hasn't jumped into pit lane yet either. He did last pit on lap 28. So definitely the fresher tyres is going to suit a number of these drivers who would have been struggling towards the end of that green flag period.
Yeah, Troy Davidson there. He I think he was the lucky dog. He's currently going around at the moment. So that probably explains why he hasn't jumped into pit lane. He's probably going to want to actually have jumped in now, though, to get some fresh tyres on there, because that's going to really affect him on the restart. He's going to really struggle towards the end of this race as they start lining up 2 by 2 here. A bit of a Noah's Ark situation as they get side by side. You've got Foster and Skurlock at the front. Skurlock, we've seen, has got some great pace in that car, but Foster has almost been untouchable all night long. When he's out there in clean air, he has been very fast. Pace car is back into pit lane. We're going to go green here again. Foster's probably going to launch it early. He does indeed. Gets a good start there. Good jump over Michael Skurlock. His teammate of Joshua Carroll-Walden also gets a good run on Skurley as well. They're going to go side by side into the first corner. But JCW, importantly, has got his nose ahead at the moment. They get a little bit of a wiggle through the corner, and that's given Skurlock the chance to get a better run. Joshua Carroll-Walden down low, getting a bit of a ring.
Jones.
Jones behind him, losing the car on the exit of the corner. Gets oversteer, back end steps out. Big incident for him, and it has remained green at the moment. So big loser for Jones, but also for JCW, who has lost a handful of positions. Ruben Phelps, meanwhile, has gained up into 3rd place. So good job for Phelps on that restart.
Yeah, I was going to mention it just before we went back to green running. Ruben Phelps just quietly moved himself up into 4th position there in another mint condition truck. So he is well placed to contest this one as we get towards the end of the race.
Yeah, very impressed with Ruben Phelps this year in the Activity Hub Barley team. Really good job in both the trucks and the Cup series. Been having some great runs, some brilliant performances, and has been up there in the top 10 all year round, and you've got to say up there on pace as well. So definitely one of those drivers to watch out for the future. Meanwhile, Matty Raymond is putting pressure on, trying to put some pressure on Norman Clark. There's a bit of a gap between them at the moment, but you've got to expect to see Norman Clark trying to catch up to Luke Trahair at the moment in 6th position, who's got a little bit of damage in that car, going to be losing a little bit of speed. Meanwhile, Joshua Carroll-Walden's going to put the pressure on Ruben Phelps. He tries a big move up there or into turns 1 and 2. Doesn't quite make it stick. Gets a little bit loose and almost went up into the wall. So he's going to have to drop off a little tiny bit this time around and then make another attack in a lap or two's time.
As you see, moving right up behind Phelps here, just not quite able to get the move done. But he is just having a cheeky look around and seeing if he can maybe try and worry Ruben into it. I don't think Ruben will be too concerned at this point in time. He's been driving exceptionally well, so he will just continue to push on in the Activity Hub Bali 06 car as we hit lap 68. And he is well positioned.
Yeah, in a good position at the moment, and good to hear from Brian Willett. The stream is much better on his end after a quick restart, so that's good news for that side of things. Often, sometimes, good old technical issues, they are always fun to have. But the battle for third and fourth is really heating up as Joshua Carroll gets a good run here on Ruben Phelps. He's going to try for that inside line. We've seen it's been a tricky one to get working. He's going to try and get the up and over now. Tries to get the power down, can't quite make it work. Ruben Phelps is still going to hold on to third position, but JCW is all over the back of that Activity Hub Barley car.
Absolutely, just not quite enough grip there for JCW to get the job done. He'll keep working. Plenty of time left here. Lots of drivers both on fresh rubber, so won't want to burn them up too early either. Might be a better strategy for him just to sit in behind Phelps for the minute and just manage this one. Of course, though, Joshua Carroll-Walden about to come under attack from Riley Curtis as well, who's up 16 places, driving a great race for the Mark 1 esports team there, and currently bearing down on the back of JCW.
Yeah, we're seeing some really good drives tonight and some impressive movers tonight as well. Meanwhile, up the front, Foster and Scullock still started trying to battle, but Foster does have the edge there. The main battle is that third, fourth and fifth position. You've got those cars all line abreast at the moment, and it is going to be a very good fight once they get close enough. Almost seems like Phelps is just not pushing as hard as the guys behind him. He's just easing off a little bit, maybe just trying to keep the tyres a little bit more alive for later in this race. We still have 29 laps remaining, of course, so maybe not pushing as hard as the guys around him, just to keep a little bit more life in there. And that's given Riley Curtis the opportunity to get right up behind Joshua Carroll-Walden in the 35.
Yeah, this is definitely where it's at. We've seen Trahair and Norm Clark drop off the back here. Norm Clark under attack a little bit from Matty Raymond. We've got Cade Donnelly and Steve Williams with Ryan Bull all battling down for 9th, 10th and 11th at the moment. Williams in a reasonably damaged truck at the moment as well, so he is just fighting to maintain this one for as reasonable a result as he can get, as Lachlan Aquisio goes past Christopher Finlay for position 13, and it looks like we've got Riley Curtis about to try and make a move on JCW as well.
Yeah, they're getting so close to each other, and you just see there Joshua Carroll-Walden just getting very, very close, still perilously close there, and that's just going to mean he's going to lift off a little bit of speed there. Riley Curtis is going to put that pressure on. You might be able to just see in the back of the picture as well those three cars, Luke Trahair, Norman Clark and Matty Raymond there. Those guys are also getting close to each other, but Riley Curtis is now going down the inside of Joshua Carroll-Walden. He's actually going to make it stick by the looks of things. Really nice move there from Riley Curtis, just straight down the inside, kept that car nice and clean, didn't lose any traction. Brilliant job there for Riley Curtis getting past JCW.
Yeah, nice clean move there, and no surprise either, given the drivers involved. That Mark 1 esports car of Riley Curtis now up 17 positions into P4, and he'll now be trying to chase down Ruben Phelps.
Yeah, you got to say, Riley Curtis seems to be having a good car for it at the moment. Ruben Phelps is holding it up there, though. He's doing a great job of keeping it up in the top three, and that's exactly what he wants to do. Might just quickly grab, as it looks like we've got a little bit of time on the track. Oh, actually, Norman Clark into the wall. That's going to give Matty Raymond the opportunity to get past him for 7th place. Matty Raymond just down the front straight there. Easy done there, as Norman Clark unfortunately just tagged the wall a little bit. That's good news for Matthew Raymond, who's made another position in this race.
So far, we've got about 18 of the trucks left in this one, and we've got 16 of them on the lead lap. Troy Davison, the last of those cars. So Jamie Nankervis, if we do get another caution period, will get that lucky dog, but at the moment things are reasonably calm.
They are, and just in the infield care centre, I've got Ryan Jones. Just going to grab him up quickly and ask what happened there. Ryan Jones, hope we're not really a welcome to the booth. Unfortunately, up in the booth. What happened to you in that last run?
She took off on me out of turn 2. I don't know. In retrospect, I know exactly what happened. When you come out of turn 2, I don't know if you've talked about it, the track sort of rises up as it flattens out to go into the back straight, and the car gets loose up out of that corner when you get power down. And I had a really good run on those 3 cars in front off the restart because Trahair was checking them up. Skerlock checked them up. And so I tried to turn left right at that moment where the car gets loose, and it just took off. It was uncatchable. Yeah.
Unfortunate incident there. Looks like you had some good pace up into that position. Hopefully we'll see you back again soon, and hopefully have you back in the booth for some better circumstances.
Sounds good.
Thank you so much, Ryan Jones there. So up at the front, it is getting quite close between Foster and Skerlock.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're just keeping an eye there on Ruben Phelps, Riley Curtis, but as you mentioned it, got a 10th now between Foster and Skerlock. 22 laps to go here, and Skerlock has closed right up on the back of Edward Foster. So the race is on for the lead.
Yeah, we've seen these two battle a fair few times, a lot of experience between these two drivers, and a fair bit of trust between them as well, so they will be quite happy racing with each other. Foster seems to favour that slightly higher line, Skerlock that slightly lower line. You can see it in each turn. Foster just going down a little bit more on the exit, Skerlock staying a little bit higher on the exit himself, so different driving styles here coming into play as well. Always interesting to see when drivers do take slightly different lines, who's going to come out with the best line for the race itself, of course. But as these two start battling, this has given Ruben Phelps and Riley Curtis the opportunity to start catching up to the leaders. They have made almost, they got the gap to almost 1.5 seconds now, and they are slowly catching these guys at the front.
Yeah, we'll just keep an eye on that here, jump up into the blimp and have a look at that gap. But you can see what you're talking about there with a ever so slightly different lines, entry and exit to the corner. Something that we've spoken about plenty of times with Michael Skerlock. Just does enjoy doing his own thing, and he's very quick at it. So works for him as we start to come up on to the first of our back markers. You see there at the bottom of your screen, Ruben Phelps, Riley Curtis battling away as well. That gap at the moment at around about 1.5 seconds between Foster, our race leader, and Ruben Phelps in third position. So we'll keep an eye on that gap as they do approach, I believe, Nigel Patton.
Yeah, they start to approach him. Nigel Patton just getting a little bit loose there. And I think Jamie McNamara as well. There was a little bit of looseness between them, but Skerlock is really pressuring Foster on the low line at the moment. He is almost teasing Foster and just trying to get him to look in the mirrors rather than looking out front of the car, just trying to distract Foster. Probably not going to work on Foster. He is an experienced driver in the series, but Skerlock is trying every move in the book at the moment to put the pressure on Foster. Into the wall.
Schultz gets very high there, just trying to avoid, I think it was Jamie Nankervis, who was moving out of the way, but he's got very high up there and clipped the wall, and that has meant that Riley Curtis has been able to move up into third position.
Yeah, that is a pivotal moment there, and that nice clean Activity of Bali race car there of Ruben Phelps, getting that damage on the front, and that's not going to help him, but that has helped Riley Curtis. That has allowed him to get past. He did lose a little bit of time from that, but he has now got some clean air between himself, Skerlock, and Foster, and he's going to try and close that gap on those two drivers as we've got 15 laps to go. Lap 85 at the moment, be lap 86 as they cross the line. This race is coming towards the end of it now, but Foster is still in the lead with a hard-pressing Skerlock behind him, and what a drive from Skerlock, starting from pit lane, getting back up to P2. Absolutely brilliant drive there.
Yeah, and if you're going to... Oh, he's hit the wall very hard there, Skerlock, just coming out of, I think it was turn 2, and there's some significant damage down the right-hand side of the Crank Esports entry of Michael Skerlock, so that has or will impact on his ability to chase down Edward Foster at the front.
Yeah, it looked almost like there was a little bit of crabbing going into the corner there. Just maybe some suspension damage. We'll see how quickly Riley Curtis starts catching up to Skerlock, just how much damage that did caused to the car. Definitely not looking as easy to drive as it was before, as he is starting to hemorrhage time here now to Riley Curtis. You can see it visually that Curtis is just absolutely gobbling up that gap and will soon be right on the tail of the 350 of Michael Skurlock.
Just in the background there, Norm Clark getting really high up in the line into the wall, and he's now jumped down into pit lane to get some repairs done to the 09 entry.
Yeah, real shame there. We saw Norman Clark running up in a good position. Unfortunate to get caught up in the wall, but it is perilous out there tonight, as Ryan Jones was saying as well. Very easy to lose the car here, and as that little rise comes, there are some nasty bumps on this track that catch you out at Darlington. Meanwhile, at the front, second and third place, you got Riley Curtis really putting the screws on that Crank Esport car there, side by side as they come into turn one. Riley Curtis goes down the inside, makes that look easy, gets ahead of Skurlock. He's going to start running away, and now he's got to try and catch Foster if he can. Only 11 laps remaining of this race. Can he do it? I don't think so.
I think he might be just a little bit too far away with 12 laps to go to make the impact here, but Riley Curtis, what a drive, 19 positions up from his qualifying spot of 21st into second, and he has done a fantastic job here tonight for Mark 1 Esports.
Yeah, really good job tonight. Very strong drive from Riley Curtis. Again, former teammate of Edward Foster, actually, so those guys do know each other quite well. So if we do get a late caution or something like that, we're going to get some real dicey action at the front there. Foster is still just cruising around. He's just putting that car in the right spots, right places at the right time. Really, really good positioning for him. Nice clean car as well. No damage that I can see on that car. So really good drive from Foster, keeping it up there. But Riley Curtis is now trying to put the pressure on, trying to get that speed up. Will he be able to make it? At the moment, it doesn't look like it. Foster is setting slightly faster laps.
We've just jumped on the front of the nose of Steve Williams, who was harassing... Oh, and he's hit the wall there very, very hard indeed. He was just harassing Joshua Carroll-Walden, and he's now lost a ton of time. In fact, I think he might even... no, he's just got... It was Matty Raymond down on the inside of him there as well, so just that's going to cost him a couple of places. We're just going to focus on the fact that Luke Trahair, it was only 2 spots in front of him, and as I speak, Luke Trahair has got past Ruben Phelps.
Goes into Stephen Williams there. Sorry, jump over you, Stuart.
No problems.
Matty Raymond just gets a little bit loose underneath Stephen Williams there. Very tricky, those two. It looks like Raymond just went on the apron a little bit, caught Stephen Williams there. Apologies over the radio, but no major harm done. They've managed to keep it going. But yeah, Luke Trahair just keeping the car up there at the moment. He's just managed to get past Ruben Phelps as well. So Luke Trahair doing a good job getting that car up into 4th position. His title rival is down there in 8th at the moment. Meanwhile, Kay Donnelly is trying to catch up to him, but the laps are closing quite quickly.
So we're just trying to show a replay here of the incident with Steve Williams there. You can just see him just getting up into the wall. And Matty Raymond there just straight on the radio, as you said, with the apologies. So that was the incident there that you were referring to.
Yeah, unfortunate between both of them. Stephen Williams really does look to be struggling out there after those early impacts. Now, the big thing for Stephen Williams is, can he keep... Oh, Matty Raymond up into the wall as well. Matty Raymond just catching a big bit of the wall there as he tries to chase down Joshua Carroll-Walden. But what I was going to say is, can Stephen Williams keep Kay Donnelly away from him? Kay Donnelly making 10 positions so far this race, having a good one himself. Stephen Williams does look to be struggling out there. Kay Donnelly is setting faster times at the moment. He's about 2 to 3 tenths of a lap faster than Stephen Williams. This could be a very close one at the end, as we've got so on our 6 laps to go. So lap 95, so 5 laps to go, sorry. Very, very coming towards the end here. Foster out in front, Riley Curtis 2nd, Michael Skurlock 3rd, Luke Trahair 4th, Ruben Phelps 5th, Joshua Carroll-Walden in 6th, 7th for Matty Raymond, Stephen Williams there in 8th, Kay Donnelly in 9th, and Paul Jackson doing a great job in 10th at the moment.
So this gap here between Matty Raymond and Luke Trahair is, between Stephen Williams and Luke Trahair is out to 5 places now. So, and with the amount of damage on Skurlock's car, you wonder if Luke Trahair will catch him and move up into 3rd position. And will Steve Williams be able to hang on with the damage to the 98 entry? So as we just see there, Paul Jackson get up into the wall late in the race as well. So could be not too bad a night for Luke Trahair here in terms of his championship hopes, but equally with that gap to Steve Williams, he should retain the number one position, you think, at the end of the night.
Yeah, it's not a disaster for Stephen Williams. He's doing exactly what he needs to keep that championship in his grasp at the moment. Luke Trahair just really needs Stephen Williams to have some terrible nights and finish right at the bottom of the order. That's pretty much the only way we're going to see Trahair climbing up the ranks at the moment. Unfortunately, Trahair wasn't able to make it to every race this season, and that's why there's such a difference between the points at the front at the moment. But Trahair is doing everything right. He is doing a fantastic job still, up in the top 5 still in this race. Ruben Phelps in 5th at the moment. Great job from those guys. But you've got to say at the moment, Edward Foster out front, 2.5 second lead, just really pacing along. We haven't seen Foster in trucks for a long time, but he is showing that he is definitely one of the class of the field.
Yes, and I think his run tonight's probably been enabled by the fact that the Cup Series isn't on this Thursday evening, meaning that no practice required, and wow, it would not have been a pretty outcome there if that had resulted in an incident, but fortunately enough, able to get away with it there.
I thought I may have put the curse of the commentator on Foster there. I was about bracing myself for a very swift punch to the face. White flag is out. Last lap of this race. Just 4 corners stand between Foster and the first win in the trucks for him of the 2021 season. Riley Curtis just sitting there in 2nd place. Good position for him at the moment. Plenty of time between himself and Michael Skurlock. Michael Skurlock has Luke Trahair just behind him. You've got to wonder if Trahair might try it, but Foster comes across, takes the win. Brilliant job from Foster. Riley Curtis finishes 2nd, Michael Skurlock in 3rd, Luke Trahair 4th, Ruben Phelps 5th, Joshua Carrawatton 6th, Matty Raymond 7th, Stephen Williams, great job of keeping that car alive in 8th place. Kay Donnelly finishes in 9th, Paul Jackson 10th.
And what a run. A probably less eventful race than we were expecting, I think. And we did mention quality driving throughout the ANZCAR series continues to be reflected here tonight. But a great race win and yet another race winner for the truck series as Ed gets right into the flick spin there in the FGM eCast sponsored truck. And a good result for him to take out the win tonight.
Yeah, and that's Foster's first win for the Notari Autosport team as well. His new team with teammates Joshua Carrawalton, Norman Clark, and Jason Hartigan. So first win for that team, and he does it first time out in the trucks. He's going to be pretty happy, I'm sure, about that. But what a great run from Riley Curtis there. 19 positions up, getting 2nd place. Michael Skurlock, of course, starting from pit lane, all the way from the back up into 3rd position. Great recovery for him. Luke Trahair did a good job of keeping that car going after a couple of big impacts. Ruben Phelps, another solid night there. Another top 5 finish.
We've just dragged the race winner and 2nd place getter Ed Foster and Riley Curtis into the box. Congratulations, guys, on a race well run.
Thanks very much.
Thanks.
So, Ed, obviously start with you. First run back in the Utes how dare I? A first run back in the trucks for quite some time, and refreshing to get a good run for you there.
Yeah, it was good. I don't normally run the trucks, as you know, because I tend to focus on the Cup stuff. But we have got an off week for the Cup this week, so I thought, probably got time to jump into one. Plus the fact that it was Darlington really helped because I love Darlington. So it was really cool to be able to come in and get a good result. I really genuinely was not expecting much. And then when I saw Stevie Dub on pole, he's been so good in this series so far, and Trahair there as well. I'm like, those two are probably going to fight it out between themselves. But it didn't happen. I'm happy.
There's a fair bit of tyre fall away for them for that long period there, so maybe pushing a little bit too hard. But the grip levels tonight pretty low from what we understand from the drivers who grabbed from the care centre.
Look, it didn't really seem that bad. I think if you overdrove it, then yeah, definitely the tyres suffered. But I was just doing my best to try and look after it. Especially being up front, you've got that kind of luxury of the fact that Darlington's actually quite hard to pass on as well. So I was quite happy to let guys draw up to me, fight as much as I could, and just try to outlast them tyre-wise, which seems to be, well, I guess you'll have to ask them, but that seems to be what happened. So as far as the tyres, they weren't too disastrous, I don't think.
Well, a race well run for you, and we've been asked to change the order of things a little bit here tonight, so just a quick run through your sponsors before we jump on to Riley Curtis in second.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's really cool to get the first win for Natari under the belt. It's only a truck win, but I'll take it nonetheless. And of course, we want to thank Ferguson Group Media, Bridgestone Select, Race Magazine, and also Two Fat Blokes for their support.
Fantastic there, and a good run, and great to get the win for Natari there in just the second outing for the team with the revised lineup there. So congratulations.
Thanks very much.
Riley, jumping over to you, mate. A massive drive for you tonight, up a whopping 19 places into the second position for Mark 1. A really, really strong drive and performance, and probably the one we've been waiting for the team. So congratulations on your second place.
Yeah, thanks. It was a pretty good drive through the field. I didn't obviously find a lot of the troubles the other boys seemed to with running out of grip, so I thought it was quite good out there.
We did notice through the session that a couple of guys had issues with some of the transition in the track as well, and a little bit of lap traffic, but you managed to drive through that without too many dramas?
Yeah, I just looked after my tyres early in the run, made sure that there was a fight as those green runs went on. Everyone was quite courteous, which makes it a lot easier when everyone's good to race against, so no dramas.
Yeah, absolutely there. And 21st in qualifying, just not quite able to get it down on the cold track?
I don't actually like Darlington, so I intentionally ran really slow in qualifying, and then just in the race it somehow hooked up. So.
Oh, that's good to see. And as I said, a good run there. Unfortunately, not able to get the team across the line with the Black Cat syndrome still impacting Aiden, but it was good to see one of the Mark 1 boys get up the front. So a quick drop for your sponsors?
Yeah, we've got Vertex, Acuta, Nichi Forklifts, Mitsubishi Forklifts, major sponsors MLA, plus just the whole Mark 1 team for merging with A1 and giving us a chance to run with a bigger team. So good to get them on the podium finally after a few unlucky weeks.
Yeah, absolutely, and excited to see what comes with that whole setup as well. And hopefully you can get Aiden up there as well at some stage in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, here's hoping that all of our luck turns a bit better soon. We can run over Black Cats, but thanks again to you boys for putting on a good show.
No dramas at all. It's our pleasure. And jumping over now to Mr. Skurlock, the pit lane crusader, who's managed to make a run from pit lane up into third place tonight.
It wasn't intentional, mate. I was a bit too relaxed there on the start and just forgot, mate. Forgot to come in. But luckily, it started me off real quick, eh? It only gave me a 3-second hold and then it let me off and I came out. It wasn't even at the back, which is pretty weird.
Yeah, you snuck up on us a little bit there. We were watching along and looking, and then all of a sudden you're in 13th position. So you could have got away with it there. We thought you just had a ripper run straight out of pit lane and managed to move yourself up into 13th. But obviously a good drive there. A little bit late on, just copying a bit of damage that slowed you down in the chase for Foster.
Yeah, I mean, early on, you can't really try hard here. You can't try and pass people because it's too hard. You wear your shit out real quick. Sorry for the language. Australian, mate. Can't help it.
It's not a PJ show. You'll be right.
Yeah. No, what happens is you go underneath people and they got the outside and you just can't get it done and it just wears them out. So I just took my time and, luckily just moved up really without passing many people, to be honest. People sort of messed up and hit the wall and blah, blah, blah. But then, I got behind Ed. I know that he was just sort of taking his time. So I was happy to just sit there behind him for a while and just keep, wait for him hopefully to make some sort of mistake, because the only way else to do it is to slide job people into the wall, And then I had a big old hit, mate, into that wall down the back straight, and the car just went nowhere after that. And then Lukey was coming; he was about to pass me. If we had one more lap, he was going to get me for third there.
Yeah, well, everyone obviously struggling a little bit there as well. We saw Luke get up into the wall. In fact, we saw a number of the guys that usually run up the front, Steve Williams, copying a little bit too. So a difficult track, clearly not one favoured by all of the drivers, but a little bit of a difficult night for everyone. But congratulations on your drive from the rear of the field.
Yeah, and I appreciate it, man. Just good to get a result, a decent one for once. It's been a bit bad lately.
Yeah, of course, last week completely running out of luck there as well. So just your sponsor rundown as well, quickly there, Mick.
Yeah, Virtual Motorsport Mentor and iRace Designs. And you guys for putting it on, boys. Thank you.
Always welcome there, running in the Crank Esports team too. So that is our grid, I keep saying that. That is our podium even for tonight. Not our grid, they're part of the grid, but that is our podium for tonight. We had Edward Foster taking out the win, followed by Riley Curtis and Michael Skurlock as our top three. Luke Trahair in fourth, Ruben Phelps in fifth, Carol Walden sixth. We had Matty Raymond seventh, Steve William eighth, Cade Donnelly ninth. Good drive from Cade again tonight. And Paul Jackson rounding out the top 10 for tonight at Darlington. And that, Carl, was quite a clean run.
It was. It was a really fun race to actually watch there. Of course, next time out, we are heading to the Circuit of the Americas. And while we got some of you up here in the booth, of course, what are you expecting running at the COTA in the trucks?
I won't be there, so maybe I'll see the other two.
We'll see you at Sonoma, Ed.
No, you won't.
I didn't even know about this.
Yeah, so
Americas, what are we doing there?
Yeah, a bit of a strange one to head to. Obviously, you got some experience on the road races, Scully. You must be pretty happy to see a track on the old schedule.
I don't know about that one though. Have you been there? The chicanes at the start are going to be a nightmare.
I can't imagine driving a truck around there, I must say. Going to be an interesting one for sure, but that's going to be something very different for the truck series, a very different challenge as well, something very different from what we've seen tonight.
Yeah, it's a very long circuit too. I'll be really interested to see how they handle, to be honest. If it's really plowy, it could be a very long night.
I'll get the sleeping bag set up in preparation for that one, just in case we end up spending most of the night on the broadcast. But I must admit, when I saw it, I thought, oh my goodness, what are we doing going there? But that's all right. It's interesting to watch.
Yeah, so Circuit of the Americas next week, 5th of April. And then, of course, we're heading off to Martinsville for the Cup, the 8th of April. So the Cup action will be back next week. Of course, we've got a week off this week. And I'll jump over to you, Stuart, for what's coming up on FGM eCast.
Yeah, absolutely. So tomorrow night, 7:45, we head back to the circuit for Oz Pro-Am from Mount Panorama tomorrow night for a split sprint race there, and with the whopping grids we've been having at that series, not too dissimilar to ANZCAR, it's going to be interesting with the GT3s running there. So very good parity across that class, and looking forward to getting that one on the air tomorrow night from 7:45 here on FGM eCast, and there may be a special guest in the booth for tomorrow night. So just make sure you tune in and jump on the stream for that one, and join us then. Other than that, Carl, again, as always, thank you tonight for your education. I had to download Darlington this evening before we broadcast. So certainly a track I've never been at before, but appreciate you joining me here on FGM eCast as always.
So you're always welcome, Stuart, and I will see you next time out for the trucks and, of course, the Cup.
Absolutely, and we look forward to getting back into that. So tomorrow night for us, actually the last stream for the week for us as we head into the Easter break. So if you're not coming back until our next ANZCAR broadcast, it will be next Monday evening here on FGM eCast. So we look forward to seeing you then. And that is about it for us for the evening. So we will catch you next time. Thanks for tuning in to FGM eCast, your e-place for pace.